Hello and welcome along to a very special football show on tonight's Off the Ball. This evening we're coming from the BackPage Pub in Phibsborough and we'll be having a bit of a Liverpool love-in this evening. We're here, of course, in association with BoyleSports. For exclusive off-the-ball offers, both new and existing customers, check out offtheball.com/BoyleSports and always remember to gamble responsibly. Now, tonight we have two real legends of Liverpool Football Club with 11 First Division titles between them, 2 European Cups, 849 Liverpool appearances, and also just the 92 caps for the Republic of Ireland between them. It's Ronnie Whelan and Mark Lawrenson. Come on down, lads. Yeah, you can sit in there, Ronnie. You're all right. Yeah, the old man can sit at the end there, so you're all right. Well done, Laurel. You got the mic now, you're all right. Yeah,
it's not moved that fast for a long time, to be fair.
How are you, lads? All good?
Great.
Yeah, I think we should get straight to it, I suppose. We're here to talk Liverpool in the first part of the show here. Let's get to the current squad then. I'll probably come to you first, Ronnie, on this. Anyway, how good is this Liverpool side, this current Liverpool side under Jurgen Klopp?
It's as good as I've seen for a long time. You look at the one Brendan Rodgers had when he had Sturridge and Suarez and Sterling all up front, and you think, yeah, that was a half-decent team. But now the depth is in this squad. Signings at the start of the season, they all look good. For me, Fabinho's the only one who's not ready. The others are ready to go in.
What is the story there with Fabinho at the moment? Why isn't?
I don't think he's good enough. I think it's a bit like Robertson at left back. And everyone's saying, why is he not getting in the team? And he left him out for a long time. And then you hear things coming back from the training ground that the kid's not ready. He needs to keep him and wait and wait and wait. And you have to say it was a great idea or a great success that he did wait that long and then bring Robertson in. He was magnificent. But maybe this is the same thing. He's noticed Fabinho's not ready. This kid, I watched him in Ireland in the pre-season games. I watched him in a lot of pre-season games, and he's not ready. He's not got quick enough feet. It doesn't look as if he can play centre midfield.
He's probably not fit enough, is he, for the way that he wants to play?
Well, I think when he's got the energy in there as well, that's the thing. He's got so much energy and legs in that midfield. It's if you are off it, yeah, that's the thing. If he isn't
probably
quite
not up to that level.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
I mean, he does the old treble sessions and everything, Klopp, doesn't he, at the start of the season in terms of pre-season. I think the thing is that if you now look at Liverpool, if you say go Champions League final, look at the three midfield players we had that day were the only three we had on the books that were available. And now there's so many players who can come on and change the game. I think that's where he's done so well. And I think just from last January through to the present day in terms of buying players in, he's smashed everybody. Every other single team were just way ahead in many, many different areas.
Yeah, I think, do you know what? I looked over the last couple of days, I looked at the team that Klopp put out for his first game against Spurs and totally changed. He's got Origi up front. He's got Nathaniel Klein, of course, Mignolet in goal. I think there's only Milner, I think, that's now you would be considering a regular starter who you've got in your 1 to 11 now, I suppose. That's it. So you see how far this team has actually come in the last, what, is it now 3 years? I think almost 3 years now since Klopp's taken over there.
Yeah, but the thing about Milner is, you just have to have him in there. You know, we went to left back when Moreno was absolutely crap. So they went, okay, let's put Milner in at left back, and then he was the best left back at the club. You put him in centre midfield, and he
was
looks
the
to be
only
the best
left back at the club. To be fair,
well, I suppose with Moreno, yeah, but he just does everything. We were talking about Steve Nicol today, weren't we? It's a bit like Steve Nicol. Once he went in the team, wherever he played, most times he was man of the match. Milner has to be in that team.
You both would have played in a number of positions as well, so you understand, I suppose, Laura, the pressure that would be on you when you're having to play in a different position that you normally would have played in through your career.
Well, it can be helpful, and it also be a little bit of a hazard, because if you have that much ability to play in different positions, sometimes you get left out, because just the fact that you were playing, sitting in for somebody playing in a different position, and then he was ready to come back in, and you'd lose. But you'd lose because you were doing the team a favour by playing in different positions. But I think both me and Nico had that all the time. Well, most of the time, certainly.
I had a bit of that with Dalglish when Jim Beglin broke his leg. I was asked to play left back, but Kenny was great with me, because Kenny said to me, "Listen, I'll take all the blame on this. You play left back. You play it to the best you can. if you are.
It wasn't good,
If
Ronald,
you
was
are
it?
How did you feel? How did you feel being asked?
I'll take. He said, "I'll take the blame." So I thought I'll do
It
it.
wasn't good.
How did you feel? How did you feel being asked to do that? You obviously predominantly an attacking type of player anyway. Would that be right, Laura? Would that be fair to say?
No, it was
Yeah.
crap.
No, I was, but it was like
Yeah.
Laura just said that you think, well, I'm going to play left back and I'll do that for a bit, and then when I have to go back into midfield, like McMahon and Mulby and Spackman may have just been playing really well, and I'm not going to get back in there where I want to be.
Yeah.
So that's the chance you take.
Should have kept Sheedy, I say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was reading that.
Who?
That was the.
That was a massive
You would have signed
decision.
about the same time, wouldn't you? As well, that was
You
a
was
big
there
decision,
before
yeah.
me. You were there before me, weren't you? Just.
Yeah, just.
Yeah.
But that was the big decision. Was Ronnie or Kevin Sheedy? Another one they got wrong.
I didn't turn out too badly, did it? Let's be honest.
Let's look at Kev's medals and my medals.
There's 3 of them in your chin.
Which Kev though? That's the thing. Bloody hell. No, are you saying? Well, I said you've won 11 league titles between you. I think you actually edged Laura on that as
Yeah,
well.
better
6 to
players
5,
get
wasn't
more
it?
medals.
Yeah. Well, exactly. There you go. There you go as well. No, I spoke about Klopp's side and maybe the change, I suppose, since he's taken over in the last few years. Would you two have liked to have played for this Jurgen Klopp side now? Would you like to play in this particular side? Would you like to play in the Jurgen Klopp?
If you ask all the guys in this room, and I don't think there's any ladies here, there's just something about him. You'd love to play for him. And I mean, I hate kind of go, everyone has to compare you with somebody else, don't they? Someone comes in, it's a new Dalglish, it's a new whatever. But there are real kind of strains of Shankly in him. He gets the punters, he gets a history of the club, and I think he just gets everybody playing. And of all people, Benteke wrote an article when he was still at the club after Klopp had been there probably 3 weeks. And it was actually a really, really good article. And he said in the article, the guy said to him, "What's Klopp like?" And he said, "He's your friend." But then he went on to say, "He's not your best friend," which probably is exactly the way he is, because he does lose it.
I mean, you two would have both had as well the managers that would have been not necessarily in the same sort of mould, but certainly the manager that's not your friend at times. That's you would have had maybe the opposite, I would imagine, through your time of Jurgen Klopp.
Sure about that.
No, not really.
No.
A lot of times Dalglish could be a friend and then just drop you.
Yeah.
Bob
Especially if
Paisley
he played left back in the first team.
Bob Paisley was completely like that. Bob didn't speak to you that much. You're in the team, and then he'll drop you and you'll ask him why. And then unfortunately, Bob wasn't the greatest speaker in the world. He'd go, yep, you're out, and then and that's the end of that. You just walk away.
What was the response? What was your response when he said that to you?
You just walked out.
Basically.
But I honestly think this is the first manager for a long time, probably since Kenny, who's doing it for Liverpool and wants all the fans on board.
Yeah.
I was delighted when Suey got the job, but he didn't really go to the whole thing of getting everybody together. And then Houllier, Benitez, I thought they were all wanting to go somewhere else. But this is the first manager for a long time, I feel, that's come in and knows the Liverpool. Let's go back to the old way. Let's get everybody involved, crowd. And then we'll go from there. And he's done a magnificent job doing it.
It does seem that way to me watching again outside. You guys have been around the club a lot more than me, but it seems to me like he does get it. He gets everything about the place. Everything how he sold the club to players as well.
Me and Ronnie do a bit of work for LFC TV, and the guys who work for them, the kind of technical guys, they have an office in Melwood, because obviously they're there hanging around all the time and stuff. Klopp goes in the office. He actually goes in for a fag, right? Because he doesn't want to be seen outside having his cigarette. And he goes in and opens the window. But he talks to people. He'll go in and say, "Right, who are you?" And, "I'm Kevin." And he said, "Well, what do you do?" He said, "Well, I'm a camera." I said, "Where did you learn that?" He just opens himself up to everybody. And when you watch him working and walking through, like everybody just really, really likes him, because he's that kind of guy who's really, really open.
Yeah, I mean, I saw some footage. I don't know if one of you lads seen it. It was around the start of pre-season, first day of pre-season, where it's like you come back into your club and he's introducing himself to new members of staff, I suppose, that's around the club. All the players coming back in for this first day of pre-season. It's all hugs, kisses, I suppose, where you can see the respect that they've got for him, but also what he has for them. And it's a really good... It was a clip of about 10 or 12 minutes, I think went out on YouTube about the fitness training and what they went in the first day. But you could tell with that short clip that he gets it. But
I'm still not into all the hugging and kissing and all that.
You're old school like that, though, aren't you?
I know, but some players play crap now and again. And there's no way you're going on to give him a hug. I wasn't going to hug Alisson on Saturday when he tried his little...
Is he a worry? Is he a worry for you?
I watched YouTube before he came to the club just to see what he was like. And he got away with it about 6 or 7 times in Italy. And I said to people, this fella's going to get caught somewhere along the line because he keeps doing it. But I was talking to Alan Hansen the other day, and Alan Hansen said, listen, he's like Bruce Grobbelaar. He'll go off it now for a bit, but he'll have to come back to it because it's what he does. He has to be involved somewhere along the line.
They get bored.
We'll wait.
Brucie,
I think he was
Brucie
bored.
got bored.
So you'd like to say there's no worry then. There's no worry for you then with what he's done in the last couple of games.
I think Klopp's probably made his point to him afterwards, hasn't he? So I would hope not. But until push comes to shove, you never. But Brucie basically just used to get absolutely bored, so he had to do something stupid, and he did it on a regular basis. In fairness,
yeah. The one thing he said at the weekend, I think he come out with comments of. It was a bad back pass. He blamed others, and I there's something
that
in me
sounds like Brucie.
Yeah, I was going to say that's something that would remind me a little bit of what he would come out with as well.
It was Joe Fagan who blamed everybody else when Bruce decided he could play left back.
Yeah,
and he tried to take a lad on
Sheffield
called
Wednesday at home.
Imre Varadi in the left full back position. Imre Varadi got the ball off him and knocked it into an empty goal. But Bruce must have spoke to Joe because we were all getting slaughtered because nobody covered for him. We're like, but he's left back. He's a goalkeeper. He's not supposed to be on the left wing.
Well, if you remember,
they did try to cover for him.
Yeah, because we had a meeting on a Friday, but generally the meeting was maybe about the last game, wasn't it? Rather than too much about tomorrow's game. Obviously, we always only played on Saturday in those days. And that day, he came running past me and Hansen, Bruce, and took the ball with his right foot and went to play a left foot curly down the line, and Imre Varadi just basically stopped it, put it in the goal from 45 yards away. So on the Friday, Bob Paisley said to him, what were you doing and all that kind of stuff. And he went, oh, boss. And he looked at me and Hansen and just went, I thought one of those two would get back. Well, what? 45 yards away from the goal. But that was just the way he was, wasn't he? Absolutely bonkers.
He did get fed up. He did get fed up. And then he come for crosses that he wasn't supposed to come for. But if he had just settled on his line, he would have been an awful lot better than he was.
All good with that. I'll go with. We have Leon Blanche with us from BoyleSports this evening as well, but I do want to ask you lads first. I'll ask Leon in a sec around it. But how close are Liverpool to Manchester City then?
Very.
The way that they played yet?
Very. Well, they've got a real chance. I mean, only 4 games, 34 to go in the league. Depend on obviously all the other cup competitions, etc. But yeah, they've got a real chance, and I think every other team in the league knows how good Liverpool are. As you said before about the signings, and there's no bias because if you watch them, I would say they are every neutral person who watches football alongside Manchester City, they are their favourite team because of the way that they play.
A few years ago, they were miles behind Man City.
Yeah,
there was no way they were going to catch them for the next 10, 15 years. But the way the signings have come and then what Man City, you always expect Man City to keep buying and buying and buying. So you get worried that whatever you buy, they'll buy more. But I think Klopp has bought players now that are getting closer and closer and closer. I'm not going to say they're going to win the league this year, but they're an awful lot closer than they were 8 years ago.
Yeah.
You'd be delighted if they were second.
You'd be disappointed if they weren't second, looking at all the other teams.
Leon, do you have a mic over there? So we'll throw some questions out to the audience as well in a second. Leon, how does the odds reflect on this and on how close they are for the Premier League this season?
Yeah, I suppose it goes to back up what the two lads have said. They're now 5-2, second favourite, having been 7-1 over the summer. And Man City were 1-2, and they're now 4-6. I think probably from a Liverpool's fans' perspective, and there's loads in the house, including myself, it's beating the lower teams that will win them the league. They've no problems facing up against the Cities, the United, the Spurs, the Chelseas. And if you look at how they've just got over the line, I was at the Brighton game, they were very poor second half. Didn't play great against Leicester, didn't play great against Crystal Palace, but got 9 from 9. And that's what makes champions.
Absolutely.
Yeah, on that point. So then,
no, you're right, 100% right. That was our team, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I think people have this thing in their head that we played great every week. We didn't. We were crap an awful lot of weeks.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, you weren't telling a lot then. That's what it was.
Yeah, but when we were crap, we won the game. And I think Liverpool are sort of getting this now, that they'll get through a game and they'll somehow get 3 points out of it. And at the end of the day, you go, how do they do that? Chelsea done it for years, Man United done it for years, Arsenal, even the Invincibles did it. You have to be able to win when you're playing bad as well.
You've got to be able to manage it, basically.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you any of you either of you through the many league titles that you've won have spells in a season when you've actually won at the end of the year and gone, we're way off it. We've absolutely no chance this season.
When we won the double in '86, we were not good, but we just sort of got together
What
and
changed?
battled through
How
it.
did you get through it?
Well, no
Left
idea.
Ronnie out for about 3 months. I think.
No, but no idea
really
how
well.
we get through it. You just do, and you sort of manage it, as Laura just said. You manage it some way, and then you need a little bit of help. Like if Liverpool are to win the league, they need help off Man City and other teams that they're not going to be winning every week. But you just somehow manage to get through a game, and from nowhere you win it.
Yeah, and I think also if you looked at our team, we had when you look at the lads who went on to manage, that's probably why, because they were all really big characters and really strong characters as well. You know, everyone says now you just can't get those kind of people to play in your team. When you looked at the likes of Kenny and Suey and those kind of players, they were absolutely massive. I would say that Graham, when Joe Fagan took over, he was unbelievable, wasn't he? In terms of the influence he had on everybody in our side, even probably more so than Kenny because of where he played.
Yeah, I mean I suppose it's where that every sort of Liverpool side since your lads finished in the late 80s, 90 wasn't it the last league they've won? Every side that Liverpool have had keeps getting compared to that. Is it almost as if
the great thing about that, we become better players every week. It's fantastic.
You weren't too bad. I give you that one anyway. But is it
Thanks,
almost
Kev.
as if is it about winning that first one then? Is that what it is? Because it seems as though Man United at the moment are on that sort of path that Liverpool were on through the 90s. Is it just about Liverpool winning one and then the rest will take care of itself going forward?
I'm not too sure about that one because it was so difficult to win the first one right, but then to keep doing it again and again and again and again. I think that's the difficult part. We were young those days, so you played, but you're not even thinking about it. But you're playing with players who'd been through it, like Souness, Dalglish and Hansen and these players. So you get through it. Then you win it. And now the pressure comes on. Like, go home, you come back August, and then you've got to do it again. And that's pressure. That was pressure year after year. So the first one wasn't really that major. It was everything after that was hard and hard.
But it was exterior pressure. It wasn't from within the club. And if you came back pre-season, well, first of all, you get your league winners medal from last year, and I'm sure you've heard the story with Ronnie Whelan would walk in the dressing room on the first day of pre-season and would look at you and go, "How many games did you play last year?" 12. Sorry, you don't get a medal. And I mean that's the way he went round the dress. So that was a big thing. And they would always say to you, they would take on the first day of the season, they would take any competition. In terms of you winning anything, no matter what it was, if it was the League Cup, whatever, they would just take it because they just knew that the way that football was.
Yeah, but remember the World Club Championship, which now is enormous. Everybody wants to win it. The Charity Shield, Community Shield. They only took it, Liverpool, Ronnie Whelan, Joe Fagan, Bob Paisley, Kenny Dalglish, they only took it that's just there. The World Club Championship, because you've won something. So if we win the Europe, we want to be there again, yes, but that will only mean that we won the European Cup. Or the Charity Shield means we either won the FA Cup or the league. So that's the way they've seen those two competitions that are huge now for anybody else.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to win that
we see
World
certain
Club
managers,
Championship.
don't we? Certain managers holding up fingers to indicate how many.
Well, listen, it would
how
be
many trophies
it
they've
would
won.
be fair to say we were on the first one, weren't we? Was that in Japan, in Tokyo, flamenco, and. In those days, we got on the plane, Kev, and turned right. There was no turning left, and we were in steerage, and we were hammered, weren't we? We flew.
That was after an hour.
Yeah, we flew. We flew from London to Anchorage because you couldn't fly over Russian airspace in those days to get to Japan. So that was 9 hours on the lash. We had an hour and a half off at. You can laugh, it's true. Hour and a half at Anchorage where they cleaned the plane. Thank God. Got back on it. And basically,
what did you do in the hour and a half that you had while cleaning the plane?
Bar. And then, and I remember when Rod Stewart was on one. He was upstairs in the balloon of the thing. We got him pissed as well.
We had to sleep.
No problem.
Because we drank so much, we had to sleep under the seats.
Yeah.
So the lads would sleep. But then you get out there, flamenco would have been there for a week or two.
Yeah.
Getting acclimatised and then Ronnie Whelan, Joe Fagan, Bob would say.
Well, you're a big scalp as well, though, weren't you? Imagine that you were a big scalp.
We were a small scalp. The state we were in, by the way.
Yeah, but it was the way you took it. They really didn't care. As long as you're here next year, you would have won the European Cup.
Well, JP, you're out in the audience, aren't you? Have you got any questions there to fire at us?
I do, Kev. I've got Stephen from LFC Day Trippers podcast, who may or may not be competition of ours, I'm not sure. Offtheball.com for all the best.
They're all competition, JP, you know that.
Stephen's got a bit of a question with a historical perspective for the lad, Stephen.
Yeah, sorry lads, you were just comparing Jurgen Klopp to the elements that Bill Shankly had. And I suppose I'm wondering, is there a possibility that he could be a victim of his own success in rebuilding the club in the same way that Shankly, Paisley came in after him and had a huge amount of success, but it was really on the foundations that were built by Shankly. Is there a fear that may happen to Klopp if he doesn't get a league under his belt within the next year or so?
I wouldn't think so. I mean, I think when you look at the owners, FSG guys, I don't think they put him under any pressure whatsoever. I think arguably the only pressure he would be under would be to get in the Champions League, because the Champions League it really is the holy grail, isn't it? That's the whole thing about it. I think obviously he would love to win something, but I don't think it's the be all and end all. I've been
asked a couple of times if Klopp doesn't win the league or win a tournament this year, is that the end of the process? Do we get rid of him? And I think it's far from it.
No,
you've got to keep him for
is he
a bit longer.
Is he unsackable at the moment, Jurgen Klopp?
Nobody's unsackable. If he loses the next 10 games, you know what it's like. Yeah. But the way he's gone,
he as close to it as
can be.
As can be, yeah.
It's all dependent on results, isn't it?
Yeah.
But this doesn't look like he's going to lose the next 10 games.
No.
But if he doesn't win the league this year, no, don't get rid of him. He's got something. He's building. He's getting closer, as I'm saying, to Man City, who had gone so far away from everyone else. You cannot even think about getting rid of him. Let him build. Let him go for it. Let him do the Shankly bit and then see where he comes.
And also, he's had a paddle tennis court built at the training ground, so he's not going anywhere for a while. That's where he goes in with the coaching staff. If they get beat, they go in and absolutely batter each other in there.
That's the way to do it, isn't
Absolutely.
it? JP, we've got another question.
Yeah, Kev, I've got another Kev here. No relation, Kev. Your question?
Sorry, lads, just want to ask you, just based on this season's performances, the 4 games so far, would you have any concern really in the first half versus second half performances? First half we tend to be really out of blocks quickly, almost blowing teams away, versus second half seems to be where we're inviting all the pressure. Do you see it as a stamina thing, as a direction thing from the sidelines, or just pure coincidence that has happened in a lot of games so far?
I swear to you, I've looked at this many times with different clubs, whether it's Man United, Arsenal or Liverpool, and there's so many times you go, even with Ireland, you're looking at it and you think, that was a great first half, but it's not going to happen second half. There's something happens. I don't know what it is. Or if it's a bad first half, you go, well, it's going to be an awful lot better in the second half. I really don't understand why it is, but there's an awful lot of teams. There's not just Liverpool. There's loads of teams do it. And Liverpool at this moment in time, because as you say, the way they come out of the blocks, they close everyone down. Sometimes when they go 1-0 up, they get a little bit frightened of it and they sit back and get caught out now and again. But I think because of the way the team is and the squad is, they're progressing. And those days, I don't think are going to be as bad as they were before.
And I don't really think it matters, because if after 4 games you got 12 points, and I'm sure the other thing with Klopp is, and I think you heard it a couple of times last season where they'd drawn games and they said, oh, you've only got a point, and he went, well, there's nothing we can do about that now. We kind of just move on. But it's listen, by the end of the season, you'd have forgotten about the first 4 games if we win the league. That's just the way that it is, isn't it?
Yeah, lads, right, we'll be back for a little bit more Liverpool chat just after this short break, where we'll actually be discussing as well, we'll be chatting about the Ireland-Wales game that's coming up tomorrow evening, just back after the break.